Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is Nightmare. What's my name? I don't know. Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is... Hey there, creepy peeps. My name is Nightmare Maven. Welcome back to my channel. Important context for this video. I'm a practicing witch. This series, because I have to make everything a series, is meant to explore the depiction of witchcraft in the horror genre, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, or in the case of 2018's Suspiria, incredibly beautiful and grotesque at the same time. Luca Guadagnino's, never known how to say his name, remake of 1977 Suspiria follows Susie Banyan, who runs away from her Mennonite community to Germany to join the Marcos Dance Academy. Susie almost instantly becomes accepted at the school and climbs the ranks to lead dancer. Through her friendships with fellow dancer Sarah, Susie discovers the dance company is a front for a coven of witches looking for a girl to become the vessel for the deteriorating Helena Marcos. I don't know if this is important context for the rest of this video, but I love the remake of Suspiria so much more than the original. I guess as additional context, giallo movies are not really my thing. So nothing against the original, it's just not for me. But the remake just expands on the subtleties of the original in ways that just really do it for me, okay? Especially the witchcraft aspects, which is what we're here for right now. Because in the original, I feel like there's almost no actual depictions of witchcraft. The whole movie is like, well, are they or aren't they? The original brings the coven and the witchcraft to the forefront of the story with this very physical act of dancing. Dancing as a form of witchcraft, or like as an aid in the practice of witchcraft, is so fascinating. It's all about the energy you're creating with the movement of your body and the space around you, as they talk about in the movie. We see this in scenes like when Madame Blanc is explaining the importance of Susie's jumps, and not just the importance of the jumps themselves, like the height, but the space between Susie and the ground during the jump. And in the group dances, we see them dancing in extremely precise movements along these lines placed on the ground, creating patterns of energy and power to achieve the coven's goals, whatever that may be at the moment. Despite maybe any problems with the movie as a whole, which I'll talk about in a little bit, I think it's one of my most favorite depictions of witchcraft in film that I've ever seen. But the first time we see it in the movie is such a hard and fast confirmation that yes, these are witches that we're dealing with, and it is the most gruesome depiction of witchcraft in the movie. So in the scene, Susie is showing Madame Blanc she can dance the lead in Volk, as Olga is trapped in the audition room. The shots of Susie dancing are intercut with Olga being distorted, brutalized, tortured by a seemingly unseen force. And right before this, Madame Blanc like blesses Susie's hands and feet, and we kind of see like maybe like a transfer of power in her, like in her palm when she touches it, making it clear that Susie is a vessel for the coven, stopping Olga from escaping the academy. And it is such a powerful depiction and a really scary depiction of witchcraft, because that scene is so hard to watch. It is really brutal. I think it really sets off the juxtaposition of like the depiction of witchcraft that is throughout this movie. So witchcraft has long since been a way to demonize women throughout history, not just in film. And more as of late, it's becoming reclaimed and repackaged as a form of empowerment. And like I just mentioned, this remake is kind of achieving both. Like the coven is both a beacon of power and sovereignty. We see that they govern themselves, they take care of themselves. Also incredibly cruel and violent. Even though this particular coven is as a whole evil in the movie is not just being like, which is evil and done. We see this duality as well with our protagonist Susie, who is brought up in this very oppressive family environment, who travels to a repressive Germany in the 1970s to the dance academy, who she learns is also trying to oppress her by literally taking out her soul and using her as a vessel for this older deteriorating woman. But before we even know it in the film, Susie has secured her own power and thwarted the coven in one of my favorite endings of a movie ever. I know people have their opinions about like that last act. Like everything that happens like in that basement like cavern area. I fucking love it. I think it's worth the entire movie. Susie is both this monstrous femme, like decimating the coven, righting their wrongs in a sense. She's also liberated and free from the repression she's faced all throughout her life at the end. So with this depiction, kind of comes with a lot of baggage because this movie in particular happens to be written and directed by men. And historically, men have been the ones to use witchcraft as a way to demonize women and accuse them and kill them, like I mentioned earlier. The depiction we have in the movie of the witches being both monstrous and liberated and powerful is kind of a double-edged sword. And at the end of the film, Susie isn't even joyous. It's not a happy ending per se, suggesting that true liberation is not without its sacrifices, which is just really dark given like all the violence on these women that we've just witnessed throughout the movie. I mean, case in point, Susie has to release Olga, Sarah, and Patricia from being like literal walking corpses that this other coven of women has literally kept alive and in agony for their own use. It's like it kind of reads to me as a really distorted depiction of like the maiden mother crone aspect. Like we have these different generations of women going head to head, and the movie ends up kind of being about like young versus old, because you have these older women in the coven who seemingly feel little to no remorse about destroying these young women so that like they can remain young and keep going and not care about removing their souls and things like that. This young versus old narrative kind of echoes what I feel like the recent changes in witchcraft, like in film, is, if that makes sense. I don't know if that sentence made sense. It's like showcasing the battle between like these older movies that depict witches as just straight up evil. They're all bad, nothing good about being a witch, versus now where we have more recent depictions of witchcraft where even if they're not wholly good, I'd say we're moving into more like a morally gray area of witchcraft. I just feel like the battle between old and young in the movie, it very interestingly mirrors this maybe battle that just I've perceived between like the old and busted depiction of witchcraft and the new hotness. While this is no craft, this is no craft. I started off strong with that one. That remains my favorite depiction of witchcraft in a movie. Despite maybe all of the baggage and not so great stuff in the movie, like when it comes to depictions of powerful women, I say that the witchcraft in this movie is very interesting, and as a fictional movie, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy it a little bit. I do enjoy it. I think it's a really creative depiction of witchcraft. I'm like obsessed with any scene in this movie that has the dancing in it as witchcraft. I think that's so fascinating and so fun. It's definitely up there. Not my favorite, but definitely up there. You guys gave me so many good suggestions in the comments of my last video, so if you have any more, please feel free to leave them in the comments so I can dissect and pick apart the witchcraft in other movies also. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here, become a creepy peep today. I will see you very soon with a new video. Until then, stay strange. Bye.